Benvenuti a tutti a Misano. Hello and a warm welcome. We are here at the Misano World Circuit and we are glad to see you all here, and we are back at the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and it's going to be a good year with a new title partner, and that's €5 for me then in the books. So we'll do have a look. The trucks are coming to get ready for the reversed grid, which means Norbert Kisch, who won the first race, will be starting from P8 right now. So lots of overtaking possibilities, and we see some marshals here doing a great job today. And I want to greet, of course, the race control. Hello everyone who's there doing a great job as well, and Smart Witness providing us such beautiful pictures. And of course, for safety reasons, it's also good to have them on board. And if there's any doubt, you can double check. So, and we are going to do a wonderful broadcast for you ahead of race 2. But let's have a quick look what has happened during race 1.
Yes, indeed. We got the first race of the weekend underway in very, very hot conditions. Everyone was all smiles down on the grid, though, ready to get the first race of the championship very quickly underway. Straight off the bat, though, as you see there, Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn disappeared into the distance. Sasha Lenz having a good move on Adam Lachko, who would then have to defend for his life from Antonio Alberthetti. Antonio was certainly one fired-up Spaniard this morning. The two of them making multiple bits of contact, only just missing the penalty markers, but having a great battle all the same. I actually held off on filling in my results sheet just to make sure that Antonio didn't get any sort of penalties for some of the contact, but they both got away with it, and it was all fair game. But Norbert Kisch, well, he did his usual. He got the lead early on from the start. Nice tidy getaway, and ended up winning the race from Jochen Hahn and Sasha Lenz. A win in the Promoters' Cup went the way of Teo Calve as well, and we continue our wonderful afternoon in the Italian sunshine. There you see then the T-Sport Banau team on the grid, all prepared with Antonio Alberthetti's number 23 MAN. A driver with the most podiums in this championship, 272 ahead of this weekend. Antonio has certainly been around the block a few times when it comes to motorsport as well. He's got an unbelievable CV, which includes Spanish Formula Renault Championship victories, Spanish Touring Car Champion in 1990. He's been a factory driver for Fiat, BMW and Opel during the 1990s in the CET Championship, basically the Spanish Touring Car Championship. He's been there, done that, and now he turns his hand to truck racing, where he already has 3 titles to his name and over 100 race wins. At 57 years of age, though, he shows absolutely no sign of slowing down, and neither does this man, Norbert Kisch, your pole sitter in the first race, and he will start 8th on the grid for this one. Obviously, reverse grid for these 2nd and 4th races of the weekend, just to make sure that the order is shaken up somewhat and we don't get people completely running away with it time and time again. That means, of course, that pole position will go the way of René Reiner. Really looking forward to seeing what René can do from there. He was fantastic in the first race as well. As we go back down to Christina, who is there with Norbert Kisch.
Yes, I just wanted to ask Norbert if he's got time for questions, because you know they're all very concentrated ahead of the race. So thank you very much. Reverse grid time, starting from P8 after winning first race. Yes, due to the regularities, of course, but this is also great fun for the spectators, but for you as well.
Yeah, it's usually really fun and crazy, and yeah, a little bit dangerous this race, but yeah, you know, it's something that you have to take into your mind, that if you want to try to win the championship, you have to kind of play a little bit smart and maybe safe, you know. So we will see what we can do. If we have some opportunities to overtake, then of course we will take those, and we will see where we end up.
Thank you very much. So you have to act smart if you want to win the title. And of course, Norbert Kisch won last year here. He was crowned at Misano, starting right now just from P8.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, you can't just be the fastest driver on track, qualify on pole and drive away. You know, the championship format means that you have to prove to people that you can at least overtake and make your way through a field as well. You have to make up those positions on the racetrack rather than just doing it on the timing sheets. And, you know, Norbert, he knows what he's doing with his racing. He's a very feisty racer in the way that he moves forward in a field, and you'll see it here today. René Reiner then takes pole position alongside Steffi Halm on the front row. Second row, it's all Bagheera. It's Theo Calve and Adam Lachko, numbers 20 and 55. Row 3, Antonio Alberthetti, just ahead of Sasha Lenz, last year's runner-up. There is Norbert getting ready, and there he is on row 4 with 6-time champion Jochen Hahn just in front of him, starting from 7th. Next up, Shane Brereton and Thomas Robinot. Thomas was very happy after that first race of the day. Then we have Jose Rodriguez alongside number 33, Jamie Anderson, on row 6. Row 7 is Stefan Fass alongside Anthony Janiak. He's going to be hoping for a lot more better fortune in this second race after a tough time in the first one. Andrei Kurzim got a penalty which dropped him down to 15th in the first race. He's alongside Clement Ecker, who unfortunately finished 1 lap short after coming into the pit lane near the end of the race. We think there may have been some problems with his truck there. And Christina is back down on the grid enjoying the sun with Shane Brereton.
Unfortunately, we were a bit in the shades here. Shane Brereton, last year's Promoters' Cup winner, already won podium at this year, starting at Misano. Good to see you here again. Apollo Tour truck tires. Oh my God, this. How is the name called?
Apollo Tour Trucks.
That's what I was trying to tell you. You say it better though. So great team. You got a great team working throughout the winter. What is new on your truck?
We've done a fair bit of work. We have had a difficult winter, lots to do. Unfortunately, the Nürburgring test got cancelled, so we haven't done all our upgrades yet because that's what we needed to test there. So we won't get our new parts until after Hungary, but I'm really pleased with what we've done so far. The truck's got a very nice balance. We just need a bit more from the front.
That sounds really great. What are your ambitions for this year?
To win the Promoters' Cup, which I think will, I think it's more competitive this year. Tio come strong last year, and we had a good fight, but I think other people have raised the game as well and caught us both up.
I'm very glad to see you back here. You're starting from P9. We've got a lot of trucks coming up, but I know you can overtake very well. What is your goal for this race too?
Follow Jochen.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, so we'll follow Jochen, see how it pans out.
Thank you very much. Shane Brereton, still without a helmet, but soon with a helmet. Thank you very much. And of course, in his truck. So, Chaz, as you can see, Shane is really in a cool mood and he's so relaxed. Such a nice lad.
He is indeed, yeah. He's a fantastic guy to speak to, Shane Brereton. He never mixes his words either. That seems to be a bit of a theme amongst all of these truck racing drivers. Things are never left open to interpretation, as we say. You can never find two meanings in something they've actually come out with themselves. And, he's honest in his plan there. Follow Jochen Hahn. They are starting on the same side of the grid. Shane starts 9th on the right-hand side of the grid. There you see him enjoying a nice cold drink, which is very necessary in these conditions. But he has 6-time champion Jochen Hahn right in front of him. And if there's anybody that you're going to be following this afternoon, well, surely it's got to be Jochen Hahn or Norbert Kisch, the two drivers on the row just in front of him. We have one of our officials, at least just doing some final checks on the circuit, making sure everything is in place as they want it. And we have drivers already on the grid. Now, is that Lucas Hahn? It is, I believe that's Lucas Hahn, is it not? That's son of Jochen. Lucas Hahn on the grid. He was racing with us last season in the number 22 machine. He did a fantastic job as well. He had a great weekend at Misano at the end of the season. It was lovely to meet him. He's such a nice lad, and he's a very, very good truck driver as well, just like his dad. And there are the inner workings of Jochen Hahn's number 4 machine. And back to Christina we go.
Yeah, at the rear Boconot Racing truck team was José Rodrigues. Olá, bem-vindo a Misano. Quais perspectivas tem antes desta corrida?
Não, eu vou ser muito realista. O grau de dificuldade é muito grande porque houve uma grande evolução a nível de pilotos e eu estou aqui também para aprender um bocadinho e para ganhar um bocadinho mais de experiência e de rotatividade, que era aquilo que estava a faltar, que estava já há bastante tempo parado e se calhar é mesmo isso que me está a faltar.
Muito obrigada, até a próxima. So Jose Rodriguez says we need to be realistic. We need some experience, and of course, the grid you can see is very competitive. Lots of good drivers around here. So he tries to improve himself, and of course, improve the work of the team also. So yes, this is the first race weekend, and nobody knows what to get. But Chaz, I know we get good commentary from you.
Well, thank you very much, Christina. Thank you very much indeed. I'm flattered. But yeah, it's the realism is what these drivers need. They always have to go into every race meeting and just take what they can from it. Sometimes, as Jochen Hahn said earlier, you don't always know the exact pace of certain drivers in the field, as we see a bit of cement dust being put down on the circuit there. That's an old school broom, isn't it? It's definitely not a Nimbus 2000, that. But still, some sort of spillage there on the road that they are having to make sure is nicely covered. They're walking to the front of the grid. You can see Frank the Tank, the man himself. He's going to go and hop in the Ford F-Max at the front of the pack, and then he will drive very, very quickly around the circuit. I can tell you that for free. But yeah, the pace of the drivers, you have to be realistic because nobody knows that much at this point of the season. It's when it starts to get to the midpoint that everybody's got an idea of who they should be around and who should be fighting for what positions where. There's going to be, to be honest, quite a number of drivers that just want that experience. Rodriguez being one of them, and of course Thomas Robineau, who we saw earlier. He's got experience in the trucks, but when you go into a new field and a new championship, there are so many unknowns that you have to come up against. It's hard to realise who you should be fighting and when you're having a good weekend or when you're not having such a good weekend. So there's a lot of mental games go on in the minds of these truck drivers, and they have to stay very in tune with their surroundings and fellow competitors in the championship. But it's a bit of it's almost ominous, isn't it, for this second race with the reverse grid that we've got. As mentioned, René Reiner is starting on pole position. He's just hidden behind the two big blue machines there on the left. And we go back once more to Christina, who's back on the grid.
Yeah, let's celebrate 10 years of truck racing with René Reiner. Congratulations to that. Great effort from you and your team. What's the best about truck racing?
What the best about truck racing? Oh, that's a good question now, 5 minutes before the start. I'm already in the tunnel, you know.
I mean, that's the best racing. So what is the tunnel look like?
Yeah. The best is in truck racing, yeah, for sure, is to stay here in a pole position. Yeah, it's one of the great moments. And actually, even better is to stay on the podium.
How are the chances?
Well, there's always a chance when you stay here in front. But yeah, it's not easy. Always not easy because the fast guys are behind me and the really fast woman next to me. So the chance is there, but yeah, you need a little bit luck also, and I will try my best.
On what do you focus right before the race? Because you said you're in a tunnel.
What I'm focused, yeah, you try to have the start in your mind, you know, and the first corner and all the things what you have to do, that you not forget a small thing, for example. The small things can have a big effort, you know, and yeah, it's a lot to do, you know, and during the start, and also we have the flying start with in the pole position. You have to take care of the right speed, you know. We have maximum 70 and also the turbo pressure and all the things. This is what you think before, how you will do it, and all the things, how it can be the first corner, about that.
Back to focus. Thanks for the insights, René Reiner. So that's really a lot to think, because it's just about the driving. It's, as you have heard, and if you have a look inside, look, all the monitors and all the cables coming out. And this is just my amateur perspective, but you can see there's really lots stuff going on, beautiful stuff in the trucks. And of course, lots of work for the drivers. So, Chaz, I hope that you enjoyed this inside perspective too.
Thank you very much, Christina. Absolute pleasure as always. And yes, indeed, there is a lot of these drivers that will have a lot to think about, to be fair. Not only the fact that they have to drive these wonderful, massive machines, but the fact they have to then think about brake temperature, tyre condition. They have to think about the pressure of the turbos as well. Obviously, a lot of the engine power in these trucks relies on that turbo. And I mean, it's a very high-strain piece of equipment, that's for sure. But it's great to see that, you know, René gives us a very honest opinion there of how he's feeling ahead of the race. You know, he wants to stay on the podium. It's a lot easier when you do start from the front. He's right about that. But at the same time, there's still a lot for him to think about just going into the first corner. And then after that, the rest of the race is a completely different story. He has to defend from multiple drivers around him, trying to get the better of him. One of which will be Steffi Halm that starts alongside him on the front row. Steffi joins us this season for her 12th year in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And she used to compete in GT racing and touring cars before turning her hand to this sort of championship. And Christina is back down there. Is she with Steffi Halm? She is.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. It was a huge introduction. Our commentator said your whole history and so informed all the spectators about your great truck racing history as well. So, Misano right now starting in the first row, and Rini Reinert said, oh yeah, I've got a great competitor right by my side. What are you saying about this field?
Yeah, I have a good feeling. I think the first race was a little bit difficult. I had some problems at the start, but then the speed was okay. I was able to make an overtake at René because he had a little mistake, but then I stuck behind Theo. So I hope that I will have a good start now and maybe go in front after the start. Hopefully we make a fair fight, but I think so, and we will have a great result.
And I know you got big elbows, and I see Adam Lachko, and I remember those duels between you two, really great racing. So big elbows out.
Yeah, for sure. I will do my very best, and I will try to fight as hard as possible, but always fair.
Of course. Thank you very much, Steffi. So fight as hard as possible, but always fair. That's a good motto, though.
It certainly is. Steffi Halm is an absolute superstar of the championship. She's such a lovely lady, but at the same time, she is such a fierce competitor. Put her behind the wheel of a truck and she could scare the lights out of it. It's fantastic. We had an amazing fight, like Christina was referencing there, at the Hungaroring at the start of last season. I think it was the fourth and final race of the day. We had Steffi Halm and Titan Adam Lachko absolutely door to door for lap after lap. And Adam gave as good as he got, but so did Steffi, and she did not let him take any advantage away from her. It was awesome fun. And it was my first weekend on the job watching that as well. And I was thinking, wow, flipping heck, these drivers are tough, and they really, really have to be. In this championship, you will see contact between the trucks. That is inevitable. I commentate on Clio Cup elsewhere in the world, and they've been to Misano before, and some of those guys can't even make it too wide in a little Renault hatchback. So the fact that these drivers can make it nearly 3 wide in some occasions into some of our corners and chicanes really shows you the level of driving skill that is on offer in this championship. Row 2 of the grid is going to be interesting to watch as well. That's going to be Teo Calve and Adam Lachko, both of them driving for Bagheera ZM Racing in their Freightliners. Very distinctive shape and look about their trucks. Teo, of course, finishing second last season in the Promoters Cup to Shane Brereton. He won the French Truck Racing Championship last year, though. So he's got a lot to try and go after. He's a double French Truck Racing champion as well now, I should say. He won it in 2020 as well. The championship was awarded for that one. They did a couple more rounds than we did in that season. And of course, Shane Brereton's win in the Promoters Cup last year was his second title in that category. He won it in 2018. And now, of course, in 2021, he was also British Truck Racing Champion in 2015. Leading away, though, is going to be our wonderful Ford F-Max, driven by Frank the Tank, as I called him earlier on. He might actually be driving the pace truck, to be honest, so I think someone else has jumped into the F-Max. We don't just let anyone random jump in them, though. These guys are very, very good drivers. And well organised as well. We did some actual sort of shooting of footage on the Friday at Misano last year using this Ford and the Iveco. We got our GoPros out and filmed plenty of stuff at sunset around this beautiful circuit. It was a hell of a lot of fun, but I was really shown the ropes in how to drive a truck. Trust me, these guys know exactly what they're doing. And it's Ralph we've got driving the Ford, I've just been told. Thank you once again, Barbara. Absolutely saving my bacon behind the scenes. But it is great to have these guys. You know, it's wonderful, again, to have the manufacturers on board that we do have. There's a bunch of them all sort of showing off the technology and the sustainable future that there is in the trucking industry, not in terms of just trucking racing either. You know, we have Renault, DAF, Mercedes. Mercedes have brought an E-Actros to the innovation camp that Goodyear have for this season, which is a fantastic machine. We've also got the DAF CF-FT full electric truck as well. And Renault have bought an E-Tech D-Series truck with them for this event. I think they've brought two with them as well, actually. They might have a Renault T-Series in there as well, but don't quote me on that one. And what you can quote me on, though, is the fact that we're going to go back to Christina once more. That's something safe for me to bet on.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you I found Frank the tank. Here, Frank is over here. Frank, einmal winken. So there you go. He's driving the pace truck. This is what I wanted to show you. So he's really doing a great job. And of course, a pace truck is also really important for the driver's security. And everything is set here, Chaz.
Thank you very much, Christina. Yeah, Frank the Tank in the beautiful Iveco S-Way. It's bio-LNG powered as well, is that machine. It doesn't make much of a noise, to be honest with you, but it's got these humongous bio-LNG tanks that you could see down the side of it there. These wonderful, they look like chrome drums down the side of it. But Frank is the sort of guy that looks like he's going fast even when he's staying still. He's an absolutely brilliant bloke. And again, very, very good sense of humour and a very, very good driver. So, personnel make their way off the grid then, ahead of the second race of the afternoon here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The last of our action today, unfortunately, but still we have a qualifying session and two more races coming up for you tomorrow as well. So don't you worry, if this is your first experience of truck racing and you've enjoyed it, then you can definitely come back again tomorrow and enjoy more of it with me and our German commentator as well, Joachim Eberts. It's great to have EB back with us once again. And my name, if you didn't catch it earlier, is Chaz Draycott, and I'll be with you for the entire championship, talking you through it all on the English side of the broadcasting anyway. There's our wonderful lineup of trucks, though, all ready to go. A little bit of nerves maybe setting in for some of the drivers in the mid-pack. It's intriguing to see how Norbert Kish will make his way through the field as well. And there you see Jose Rodriguez, Jamie Anderson, Stefan Fass in the number 24 truck. Alongside Stefan on that row, you will see Anthony Janiek. It's very hard to miss Anthony's truck, to be honest with you. Then Andrei Kurzim in truck 11. He starts 15th on the grid in this one. He got a 30-second penalty at the end of the previous race. So he won't be too chuffed starting from all that way back. But the rules are rules, and they have to stick with them as best they can. Steffi Halm seems to have her truck sort of pointed to the right slightly there. Not that it'll make a difference when it comes to the actual start of the race. It's not a standing start like you see in a lot of motorsport. We have our wonderful rolling starts, and obviously Anthony Janiek a little bit too eager on the earlier start. Seemed to have jumped the procedure and moved over onto the grass on the right-hand side to try and get around Antonio Alberthetti. Antonio eventually managing to fight back and actually finish the race in 4th position. Field then gets underway and everybody is led away from the grid by the wonderful Iveco S-Way. And who is your money on? Because anything could happen here, to be honest with you, with these drivers coming through the order. Sometimes they get a little bit stuck. They use up the tyres early on in the race and then they don't make further progress from that point onwards. Other drivers, they pick their moments early on. They chill out in the middle part of the race. I say chill out, you know what I mean, as much as they can do when they're racing a 5-ton truck. But then they use what's left of the tyre at the end of the race. They sort of look after the tyres in the midpoint, just get the laps in where they can, and then when the race comes to a close, they still have the pace of the other trucks around them and they can push forward to progress right at the end. This is on board with Sasha Lenz. Sasha starting this race, well, he started earlier in 6th position. He starts this race in 6th position as well. Actually, it's a familiar place to be if you're Sasha this weekend. I had to check my grid sheet then to make sure I had the right one. But no, he starts both races in the same position. And the suspense builds up. As you see, though, on the right-hand side of your screen, the Iveco S-Way is powered by Bio LNG. Hopefully, if we keep it in shot, you may see it, actually, as it comes round the left-hander. You can see the metallic sort of drum shapes of the tanks down the sides of it. Great mixed grid once again this season with many manufacturers. We've got MAN, Iveco, Freightliner and Scania all on the grid. Good to see more than one Scania being represented this time as well. Trucks 24 and 25, both representing the brand. Tankpool 24 Racing's Stefan Fass and Hecker Racing's Clemens Hecker in number 25. There is your front row, trucks 77 and 44. Steffi Halm alongside René Reiner. René will want to make the cleanest start that he can. Someone else that's going to find the start important here is going to be Teo Calve, because Teo is the highest placed driver in the Chrome category by quite a number of positions as well. He's third on the grid. The next driver down that is in that category with him is Shane Brereton. He started in 9th place, so it's certainly going to help Teo's championship charge in the early stages here if he can get a second category win. On board again with Sasha Lenz, we go into the final couple of corners on this circuit. Obviously a shortened layout of the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. Just for on safety grounds, we turn our trucks here into this tighter right-hander and get them slowed down a little bit more early to make sure that there's no potential dangers of them running off into the distance and into the barrier at the far end of the road. But they make their way around turn 15 and then slow the pace down even further to head into turn 16. And through turn 16, 16 trucks make their way, 5 tons at least each, thousands of horsepower, and round 2 of the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is underway. René Reiner plants his foot to the floor, gets a great start and actually clears Steffi Halm by a good couple of lengths there. And look at that, Teo Calve now down the inside of Steffi going into the chicane. This is on board with reigning champion, truck number 1, Norbert Kish. Into turn 1 he goes, and look, Jochen Hahn round the outside of Antonio Alberthetti, started directly behind him on the grid, get over to the left and make his way around him. That's Adam Lachko on the right of our screens there as we go on board with Sasha Lenz. Teo Calve is up a position, is he? No, it doesn't look like it actually. Steffi Halm's still there. But now Teo chucks it down the inside and he's made contact with Steffi. The two of them go straight on. Sasha Lenz tries to capitalise. They all have to come on somewhere. Teo's truck gets a big, big hit in the right rear there. A bit of fluid got flicked up, I think, onto the lens of the camera. Get it, Sasha? Lens. Anyway, he still remains to be side by side with Teo Calve. And you can see a bit of damage on the tyre of Adam Lachko there. Something moving around as down the inside of Steffi Halm goes Norbert Kish. Into the side of Steffi, into the side of Jochen. Jochen wouldn't have known that they were going to go 3 wide through there, but big contact. But these big old trucks can survive it. Wow, argy-bargy on the opening lap of the race. Well, I said before about trying to make your way through the field as quickly as possible. Seems like some of these lot, they really mean it. Any means necessary. But that was big contact. We've got trucks smoking, bodywork flapping. That's the right rear on Calve's truck there as Sasha Lenz tried to get past him. Now Norbert Kish is making his intentions very clear, looking down the inside. You can see them all getting up to a maximum speed of 100 miles an hour, where they are then governed and limited. They have to behave themselves and not go over 100 miles an hour. That's on safety grounds. Sasha Lenz trying to get around the outside of Teo Calve. Teo sticks to that inside line. This is important, though, because Norbert Kish is now going to be on the inside of Sasha Lenz, side by side at the back as well. Jamie Anderson there, I think, side by side with, I think, was that Thomas Robino? Has he dropped down quite a lot? He has. He's down to 14th place, so he's not had the best of starts. I think he's maybe been caught up in some of the dramas there. But end of lap 1, and it's René Reiner leading Adam Lachko, and Antonio Alberthetti has made his way up from 5th into 3rd. Lachko goes from 4th to 2nd. Behind them is Theo Calve, Sasha Lenz, Norbert Kish, Steffi Halm having a nightmare of a first lap, going down from 2nd to 7th after that contact with Theo. Theo has to get out of it a little bit there. You could see him just put the lock on to the right to avoid hitting Sasha Lenz. Norbert Kish goes for a cutback as they head up towards turn 4. Late on the brakes. Norby gets the MAN stopped nicely on the apex of Curva del Rio. That was turn 4. This is the right-hander at turn 5. Then they flick the weight back over to the left-hand side for turn 6. Anthony Janiak there going down the inside of Stefan Faas, who certainly goes off of track limits there on the right-hand side of the circuit. Now Jochen Hahn, after getting that big hit in the side in the opening encounter, will not be too chuffed, as Sasha Lenz will not be too chuffed, because that is a big old lock-up into turn 8 at Curva Quercia. And Jochen Hahn now trying to get down the inside of Theo Calve, the young Frenchman having to work hard to hold him back. Here's a look back then. That's the contact between Sasha Lenz and Theo Calve, and then that was post-contact between Steffi Halm and Norbert Kish. The two of them coming together, meaning that Jochen Hahn was pushed out wide. Back on board we go with Norby. You can see the two trucks just a moment ago hitting that 100-mile-an-hour mark and just sitting at the same speed as they go now down towards turns 13 and 14. As somebody's gone straight on in front, that's Antonio Alberthetti. There's a lot of smoke and a lot of dust. And then all of a sudden, a T-Sport Benau truck coming back on. Shane Brereton there, side by side, a little bit further down with Rodriguez, I believe that is. He's just got past him. Moves in front. Andrei Kurzim moving through the order as well. We'll see where he is at the end of the lap. But for the race lead, as the black and white flag comes out, for the race lead, René Reiner and Adam Lachko. Never mind trucks 77 and 44 as it was on the front row. It's 77 and 55 now. Adam Lachko looking to try and get a very, very early race victory in this championship. He only got one race win last season, and I believe that was at a very wet Zolder, where the Freightliner excelled, and he makes contact with the back of René Reiner. Bodywork goes flying. There's smoke in the air. Both trucks wobbling about as they make it into turn 4. I've been told that Theo Calve has been given a 5-second penalty for making contact and causing a collision with Steffi Halm. Now, as much as I like Theo, that does not surprise me, I'm afraid. It was a big send down the inside, big contact, and it really affected Steffi's race. You can see in front as well, actually. Is that a move for second? It is. Antonio Alberthetti is really closed up to the back of Adam Lachko now. So Adam, while trying to take the lead, has actually lost a bit of ground to René Reiner. That is not good news for the Czech Bagheera ZM racing machine. There is Anthony Janiak. He's trying to make up some ground after a tough earlier race. Jochen Hahn has got ahead of Theo Calve as per the first sector. Steffi Halm now down in 8th position. We saw her all over the back of Theo, trying to move forward. Look at the pace they do down there into turns 13 and 14. We saw Antonio Alberthetti there on the left-hand side of your shot was just looking down the inside of Lachko, as he did in the first race where they had big contact. Norbert Kish now all over the back of Sasha Lenz. These two had so many great fights last season as well for overall for the Drivers' Championship. And now they find themselves in a quartet all of a sudden. Stefan Faas apparently already having 2 warnings for track limits. If he gets another one, then that'll be a drive-through penalty. René Reiner has absolutely disappeared. I'm wondering whether that contact for Adam Lachko has damaged the truck again, like he had in the first race. Contact with Alberthetti seemed to just knock the truck off kilter, and he just did not have the pace from that point forwards. Again, look at the understeer there on that front left for Lachko. Something definitely not right with that truck. And Alberthetti chucks it up the inside into Curva del Rio. He gets through, Lenz gets through, and yeah, there's definitely something up with Lachko's truck. He's given up there. That's such a shame to see. Great if you're Alberthetti, because that means he gets ahead of one of his championship rivals straight off the bat on lap 3. Look at the run that Sasha Lenz has got, though. Oh, Antonio just covers off the left-hand side enough there to make sure that Lenz can't get through. And I told you, these trucks are wide. Lenz can't go through on the right either. I was surprised we didn't get a little love tap there from Norbert Kish behind. I imagine Norby's just waiting for an opportunity here from those two. Behind them, there's Jochen Hahn going past Adam Lachko. Well, after starting on the second row of the grid, it's not been the best of races so far for the two Big Era Freightliners. Teo Calve started third, Adam Lachko started fourth, and now they find themselves... Well, Lachko's still racing in fifth place, but you still find Calve down in ninth. Look at the way they move through turns 12 and then into 13. Lovely drone shot once again of the field making their way through. There's definite problems for Lachko, though. You can see he's just trying to stay out of the way here. And I imagine the Freightliner will make its way into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Norbert Kish, though, he's buying his time at the moment, isn't he? He's just waiting, just seeing what opportunity comes his way. Sascha Lenz right in front. Definitely one of the guys that he'll be fighting for the title this season. Teo Calve is now another driver on his second warning for track limits, I'm told. As, whoa, Norby gets into the back of Sascha Lenz. Carries a lot of pace into turn one. Gives him a not quite friendly tap in the rear into that first chicane. That's certainly not a point where you want to receive that sort of contact. Not that you want to receive it anywhere on the circuit, but still. Sascha Lenz now has Norby crawling around all over the back of that MAN. And in doing that, though, Norby is actually causing the pair of them to sort of fall away from Antonio Albacete. Anytime that he takes away from Sascha Lenz, he's taking away from the pair of them. So if he feels like he's held up somewhat by Sascha in front of him, he needs to just make one move and get on with it straight away. There is the view from Sascha forward to Antonio. Making their way up to the double right-hander. At turns 9 and 10. That is Curva Tramonto. Rennie Reiner doing a good job, actually, leading this race at the moment. His last lap was a 2:05.3. Albacete was only 1/10 quicker, but he was quicker than Lenz, Kish, but not Jochen Hahn. Jochen Hahn, the fastest truck on the circuit at the moment. He's done the fastest lap out of anyone on that last lap. Actually, it was not. I apologise. It was Norbert Kish, did a 2:04.3. Jochen Hahn did his personal best anyway of a 2:04.6 on that last lap, a 2:04.666. Kurzim goes a little bit deep there into turn 14, to say the least. There's one of the penalty markers there getting smacked by just about every truck that goes through. You can see just how well these things do handle, though, through that right-hander. But there's your top five all together. René Reiner in the Iveco. Then it's MAN, 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 Albacete, Lenz, Kish, and then Jochen Hahn in another one of the Ivecos just behind the Team Hahn racing machine. He's going to be trying to close in on these guys if they continue to fight, and if Norby continues not to be able to find a way past Sascha Lenz, you can bet that Jochen Hahn will be right on the scene. And Adam Lachko has unfortunately retired from the race. You can see him still on the timing screen there in 15th position. But that has been the end of his race, I'm afraid. It looks like we haven't had Clemens Hecker take to the start either in this race. He hasn't shown up on the timing screens. So clearly whatever problem they had before has been enough to keep them from the second race of the weekend. That's a real shame as well. Sascha Lenz now can only watch as Albacete in front of him goes chasing after race leader Reiner. There was a bit of damage there on Anthony Janiak's truck. The right rear certainly has had a bash, and the right front wasn't looking too smart either. Jamie Anderson not going as well as I would have expected, actually. He's down there in 14th place at the moment. Wonder whether he's had some sort of incident. He seemed to have dropped down a little bit in the first race as well. There's bodywork and panels, I imagine, off Anthony Janiak's truck because, well, it's bright yellow. I'm sure we can try and identify who that is off, but My money straight away is on Janiak because, whoa, Jochen Hahn there clips the outside grass a little bit, spits some of the dust all over the circuit. Still manages to get it slowed down, though, somehow. That can be a very, very scary moment in any sort of racing car, never mind a truck. And you could just see Anthony Janiak for a second there with the damage on it as Christina is in the pit lane, I imagine, with Adam Lachko.
You see what was happening with some parts down to the earth.
From the second place, when I try past the Renner closed me the door, and we have a contact, and I have broken completely steering, and in 3 corner I go only on the grass, and this is the reason why I must stop.
And so, yes, it's race 2, Sundays ahead. Can you fix it?
Yes, I hope we fix it, we change, and tomorrow is new day, we must new fighting.
Thank you very much, Adam Lachko, and I'm sorry for the loss of the race. So as you can see, they're walking very quickly.
Yes, indeed, the Bagheera ZM racing team always working very, very well on those Freightliners. It's a massive shame to lose Adam from the race, but while these trucks are big, tough machines, obviously contact with another big, tough machine can mean that all of a sudden your race can be over and you can get damage. On our main screen, though, here, we see the move for the lead. Antonio Alberthetti goes down the inside of René Reiner and takes the lead of the race down at turn 8. And then I think Sasha Lenz was going to go through as well there. It looked like definitely he was in with a shout of gaining the extra position. We've got some sort of smoke and, well, some sort of residue of some kind flying off the back of the number 21 machine here, just behind Stefan Fast and Shane Brereton. Here's the guys back up at the front though. René Reiner now behind Sasha Lenz down into 3rd place. Norbert Kish is going to be the next truck to line up and try and have a go. But ultimately, Antonio Alberthetti leads the race. Started 5th on the grid, and he's made his way forward piece by piece to get it all wrapped up so far. Anyway, I say wrapped up, it's far from wrapped up. It is only the halfway point of the race now. Another black and white flag going out. These guys are really testing the stewards today. But there's your leader, Antonio Alberthetti. Sasha Lenz behind, then René Reiner with, well, of all people, Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn stuck behind him. Norby moves over to the left because he knows that's going to be the outside for the second part of the chicane. He then looks down the inside going into said chicane. Doesn't quite get it done. I've been told as well, Clemens Hecker had a technical issue with a fuel leak at the start, so he did not take the start of the race. Or it was before the race, apologies. Real shame for Clemens Hecker. But your race leader, Antonio Alberthetti, he already has 106 race wins to his name in this championship. So it's certainly a big number to be adding to, but he's a very, very experienced driver. Out of everybody on the grid, I think he is the most experienced we have here. Jochen Hahn's been in the championship for 23 years. Even with a year off, Antonio's been here for 25. He joined the championship for the first time in 1997. 1997. I was 5. Fantastic experience, though. And it's great to see these guys still doing it, you know. Antonio is 57 years of age at this point. Jochen Hahn's got 10 years on him. Jochen is 47 going into this championship. The only other driver in the championship in their 50s is Shane Brereton and René Reiner, actually, who we see there just in front of us. He's being chased by 37-year-old Norbert Kish right now. But drivers of all nationalities and ages in the field, and still great racing from every single one of them. There's, whoa, in the background there's a lot of dust being kicked up by somebody. Not quite sure who was the culprit for that one, but that's definitely not part of the track limits. As Norbert Kish now piles in behind René Reiner, you can see the brake lights on the reflectors on the top of the truck there. Looks like that brake light's always on, but the brake lights are actually a bit further down in the frame of the truck. Alberthetti leads across the line. We've got a black and orange flag going out for somebody, as well as a black and white flag. Not quite sure who the black and orange one is for, but we'll have to try and keep our eyes on that one. There wasn't anybody with that much bodywork flying off the truck, was there? I know René Reiner's right rear, there's a tongue twister for you, Rene Reiner's right rear was hanging off. You can see it just there in the bottom of your shot. As, whoa, Norbert Kish, as you hear him going up the gears there, spins up the rear wheels very quickly. They're about 1,200 horsepower, these trucks, with over 5,000 Newton meters of torque. But even still, they can spin up the rears like mad. And we've had more warnings for penalty markers, i.e. track limits. And, well, that is Jochen Hahn chucking it up the inside of Norbert Kish. Gives him a friendly kish on the way through. Still side by side as they go up towards turn 9. Norby moves over to the left, saying, try it, sunshine, I dare you. Smoke from the front right of Jochen's truck, though. Is that just bodywork rubbing against the tyre, or is that something more? You can see the bodywork is flapping around that, so I imagine it's just that. I hope it's just that. We're in for a great scrap between these pair, still with a number of laps left to go. And the black and orange flag was for Thomas Robineau. Because of the black smoke rule, there is smoke emerging from the truck, so he has to come into the pits, adjust what they can to stop that, and then they can send him back out. And the penalty marker warnings came for trucks 44 and 33. That's Steffi Halm and Jamie Anderson. Into the final couple of corners again we go then. And once more, whoa, Anthony Janiak, big moment on the way into 14. He's got Teo Calve right in front of him. It seems like Teo's always got a truck right behind him. That Marshall is going to have arms of steel after this race for holding out that black and white flag for pretty much the entire encounter. But 9 laps completed now. Sasha Lenz closing in on Antonio Albacete. Just to clarify as well, the counter in the top left of your screen is how many laps we've completed of the 12. So this is the 10th lap of the race now. And we have lost Adam Lachko. Thomas Robineau has come into the pits, and Clemens Hecker did not start the race. There's Reiner still holding on ahead of Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn. Still smoke coming from Hahn's truck. Steffi Halm is in 6th position at the moment. So she's recovered a couple of places from the earlier mayhem. See the bodywork all strewn across the circuit there down at turn 8 from what's left of the front of Adam. Sorry, not Adam. It was Anthony Janiak's truck, wasn't it? The number 66 machine, the Lion Truck Racing MAN. Norbert Kish hard onto the brakes then. Really close to the back of Rene Reiner. You could see the back end kicking out there. You could hear the tyres screaming for mercy. Antonio Albacete, though, makes his way down into turns 13 and 14 once more. He's only got a couple of laps left to go here. Big bit of daylight between Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim. Kurzim with not much or anything of the front left remaining on his truck. Again, Norbert Kish just pushing Rene Reiner around the circuit right now. Norby wants to try and get a podium. It'll be his second podium of the season after winning the first race earlier on today. But Rene wants to open his account with a podium finish. The only driver that's currently in a podium spot that finished there in the first race is Sasha Lenz. So he'd be the first driver to make a return, a repeat return to the podium at least. Bit unfair of a statistic though, isn't it, with only 2 races gone, but still. Lap 11 out of 12 right now then, and Norbert Kish, well, he's trying to find any way he can past Rene Reiner. He's got a run on him. Rene moves over in a similar fashion to how he did on Adam Lachko. Don't quite think he left enough room on the right-hand side, hence the contact, but Norbert backs out of it, saves the truck for another attack now, gets a good run out of the left-hander at turn 6. All the way down the back straight, which is counted as a curve. Turn 7 effectively. Norby climbing around all over that Iveco. It's an MAN sandwich with Iveco bread right now. It's around the outside. Amazing stuff by Norbert Kish. Really pushes the limits of how the truck can handle, and Rene Reiner says, get out there, sunshine. The penalty markers go flying. Norby's saying, not on your life. He's got the nose down the inside still. Jochen Hahn says, go on then, son, I'll come with you. Down the inside he goes as well. on one of his old team's prepared trucks. Antonio Albacetti's had his second warning for track limits as well, so he needs to be careful. But Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn both going through on René Reiner. Here's another look at that move. Lovely stuff around the outside. I think a little bit of contact in the middle of the corner, and then Reiner just says, get out of it. Chucks him off to the right-hand side of the road. But Norbert Kish back into a podium spot. Now, has he received any sort of damage or anything on the truck that may harm him into the final couple of laps? You can feel the way that the momentum shifts from that onboard camera, can't you? There's Andre Kurzim, Anthony Janiak, and Teo Calve all together. Teo, 9th place right now. We've got a couple of seconds over Shane Brayton, so Teo is still on his way to win the Promoters' Cup in this race. You can hear the tyres just a moment ago screaming. You can see the mudguards. All three of these drivers, actually, with their right rear mudguards hanging around in the wind. Teo Calve's the most dramatic one at the moment out of the three of them. But it's certainly something that they have a lot of spares of in the paddock here at Misano and here in the championship, I can tell you. There are a lot of spare bumpers, even spare windscreens that often go into the trucks. It was one thing that really surprised me, actually, at Misano last year, was to just see how many spare windscreens there were lying around after the races. Sasha Lenz, though, he's been putting the times in here, you know. He was actually 4/10 slower than Albacetti on that previous lap, but before that, he was catching him up quite considerably, and he stuck with him into the latter stages of this race. Norbert Kish has got a little bit of a gap back to Jochen Hahn, but so far all weekend, these two have been absolutely glued together, and we hope to see that remain that way over the course of the championship. Sasha Lenz moves out to the right-hand side. They don't benefit from slipstream here in this championship, so you will see them moving over like that. They are limited to 100 miles an hour, so they gain no benefit from sitting behind directly in the slipstream of the truck ahead of them. It'll just heat up the engine. They may as well get into some cool air while they're both going at the same speed. Sitting behind gains them nothing. A couple of corners to go, though. It's looking nice and tidy for T-Sport Bernau and for Antonio Albacetti. He didn't win a race last year, did Antonio, but he starts his 2022 campaign in the best way possible. Albacetti wins at Misano ahead of Sasha Lenz. Norbert Kish is going to take 3rd place, his 2nd podium of the weekend. Same with Sasha, and Jochen Hahn right behind him. René Reiner finishes inside the top 5. Steffi Halm recovers to 6th position. And then Andre Kurzim is just going to hold on ahead of Anthony Janiak, is he? Across the line they go, and it is just Kurzim, Janiak. And then just behind, Teo Calve takes his 2nd win of the weekend in the Promoters' Cup from Shane Brayton. And Stefan Faas finishes in 11th place. Stefan takes a class podium ahead of Jamie Anderson, Jose Rodriguez, and then the last driver to finish will be Thomas Robineau in the 21 machine. But well done to Antonio Albacetti. Like I said, he did not win a race at all outright last year. He got 7 podiums on his way to 170 points in the championship. But he would ultimately finish in 5th place in the standings. I think one of the first years in a very long time where he didn't win a race. Just to put into context, though, the fact he didn't win a race last year is quite the statistic, because Antonio has 107 wins in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship now. A real stalwart of the championship after 25 years. Very well done, though, to Sasha Lenz as well. A great race from him. Started the race 6th on the grid, made up some places early on, survived all of the early chaos, and managed to bring it home in 2nd. Now, you don't score as many points for these second races. As you saw earlier, the points handed out for the first race are 20 to the winner, 15 for 2nd, and then 12 for 3rd. And then it's 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. So points go to everybody in the top 10. And then in the 2nd and 4th races of the weekend, where we get these reverse grids, you get 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 10 points go the way of Antonio Albacetti. he gains 1 point over Sasha Lenz in terms of the championship. But Sasha from this one will get 24 points and Norbert Kish will get 28. It just means that there's more merit involved in the first race, because to be at the front of the grid, you have to qualify there. To finish 8th, get given a reverse pole position and then drive away at the front of a field, that would, as the organisers see it, you know, no disrespect to anybody, but that would not merit as many points as doing it well on merit. There's number 14 machine of Jose Rodriguez going past Norbert Kish on the right-hand side. And here is Sasha Lenz for the second time today, finishing on the podium, and a bit of drifting as well. This is one thing that I've absolutely missed about the championship, the drifting that these drivers do. On the horn as well, they all still have their horns, these trucks. They're all still very, very functional. During the horrible flooding and everything last year in Germany, the trucks were used actually to pull trailers and to pull anything they could to help out in a fantastic relief effort. And speaking of relief, well, Antonio Albacete, for the first time this season, gets a race victory, and I hope for him and T-Sport Banau it is not the final time we'll see him on the top step in 2021. But a wonderful job, absolutely wonderful job by Antonio, and they've worked incredibly hard over the winter for that, and they've got their reward already. There is Sasha Lenz, truck 2, P2, and then alongside them in just a moment we should have the big red number 1 of Norbert Kish joining them. Shane Brayton and Teo Calve are stopped as well as the Goodyear Cup. Sorry, I keep doing that. The Promoters Cup podium finishes. But here he is. Antonio Albacete, at 57 years old, like I've said, still shows no sign of slowing down. And a race win. Well, it's another number on the CV for Antonio. Big thumbs up to the team. Big round of applause all round. And they will be absolutely over the moon with that one. There's our view from behind the action in the back end of the pit lane. And there's Norbert Kish returning to the pits as well. Flags and T-shirts and all sorts from his team and his supporters down there in the pit lane. And there is the gigantic flag flown by Reveche Racing. You've got to love it. The support for Norby is fantastic. You know, he's been a very, very serious name in the sim racing world as well, which is where I started my commentary career. And to see him succeeding so well in the real world is absolutely phenomenal. Someone else that's down there very much in the real world with race winner, though, is Cristina with Antonio Albacete.
Welcome to the real world. Antonio Albacete, congratulations. First win this season, race 2, and it's been a while since you won a race, I must admit that, but you had so many successes. It was your 107 win in total. Congratulations to that. How did you manage that?
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a long time without a win, so it's very good. I mean, it's the reverse grid race, but for me it's like the normal race, you know, so it's quite good. I mean, very happy for the team. They did a really good job. They worked very, very hard, you know, and the track has been going very, very good. So, yeah, I mean, I was a little bit lucky that nothing happens on the start, you know, I have no troubles. So, very happy with this win, for sure, yeah.
Not a lot of damage, we can see that.
No, nothing at all in this one. So, very lucky, very lucky.
But it is, of course, a race. I mean, reverse grid means you had to put out your elbows, so it's definitely a tough race. How did you manage to keep the space?
Yeah, it was a tough race because I have to pass some drivers, you know, and it was not easy. But yeah, we have a good pace for the race, and I knew that if I don't make any mistake, length and even Norbert will not catch me, you know. So I tried to keep the tires in good position, you know, in good shape. And since then, I just try to look on the mirrors and control a little bit the race.
Everyone is happy, so up to the podium. Have fun there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, thank you. And we see the congratulations for Tim Frost right now. And with Antonio Albacete, his race driver. Welcome to the real world, Chaz.
Welcome to the real world, indeed. I'm so happy for Antonio. I was actually told that that's the first time since 2019 that he has won a race, actually, because let's not forget, during the 2020 season, there was, well, no races really counted. There was only about 4 of them, wasn't there? And there you go. Antonio Albacete, for the first time since Zolder in 2019, wins the race here at Misano from truck number 2. Sasha Lenz finishing second. Norbert Kish getting another podium as well. With truck 4, P4, Jochen Hahn still up there in the points. He's looking a lot more potent at the start of the season this time round. René Reiner did a great job despite some very elbows out racing to finish 5th ahead of Steffi Halm, who I'm sure will be wanting more from tomorrow. Andrei Kurzim, great recovery that to 7th place after starting right near the back of the grid. Anthony Janiek, Shane Brereton and Stefan Faas round out your top 10. But that also means that Shane Brereton actually takes the win in the Promoters' Cup. Theo Calve is demoted into 11th position after that penalty. Jamie Anderson is in 12th with Jose Rodriguez 13th and Thomas Robineau, the last truck, finishing the race 1 minute and 14 seconds down. So another thing I've learned is that I need to not fill in my results sheets for my future commentaries so soon after a race. Theo Calve obviously getting that penalty, and that has dropped him down behind Shane Brereton. That'll be very, very important. But that collision early on, well, it was completely unnecessary. It was just a little mistake by Theo. These things happen, but because these things happen doesn't really give Steffi Halm the time or the position back. So in a bit of justice, that is why we see Theo Calve getting that penalty. We follow Antonio Albacete, though, up to the podium. As if these drivers hadn't worked hard enough, they've got a load of stairs to make their way up to then get onto the podium and then celebrate. There's Sasha Lenz as well. A big handshake. Another thing I've learned is these truck drivers all have very, very firm handshakes. I can tell you that for free. A Goodyear hat for Sasha Lenz. And there is Shane Brereton as well. Congratulations all round from staff and everybody. Stefan Faas there in the background as well. And Sasha Lenz will be relieved after that one. He's had a great start to his championship. Plenty of points coming his way. I was trying to just listen in there, sorry, to what Shane and Antonio were saying. To be fair, for a lot of people, Shane's accent is harder to understand than Antonio's. There is Theo Calve. He's probably saying, where is everybody? Wondering why the heck he's the only one there. But still, we have our podium all prepared. We have all of our drivers by the look of it. And in just a second, we will get them up there. Of course, in reverse order from how they finished. Now, I heard podio, so I know that in Italian that means podium. Norbert Kish finishes in 3rd position overall. Another podium to go with his fantastic tally. That is podium number 148 from 314 starts for Norby. Can you tell I've put my numbers together for this season? Sasha Lenz finishing in 2nd. Another strong result for Sasha. Last season, he won 4 races throughout the season. I'm sure he's going to be hoping to do more of that this season as well. But your overall race winner for the first time in 3 years, Antonio Albacete. Fantastic to see. And a big, big smile from the Spaniard. It's not his first rodeo, but it certainly won't be his last. He's been a real staple on the entry list for this championship for many years. And I'm sure that will not change either, to be honest with you. Sasha Lenz receives his trophy for 2nd place, raises it high, and will be a very, very happy boy. But receiving some silverware for the top step, Antonio Albacete. A big cheer from everybody around. They all know how much of a legend Antonio is. And I must admit, while trying to remain completely unbiased, you could probably even hear it. I've got a humongous smile on my face. I bumped into him Actually, we'll wait for the national anthem, sorry. And there we go. I was going to say I bumped into Antonio a few weeks ago, actually, at Jarama in Spain, where we'll be later in the season. And it was great to have a good chat with him and see his son racing as well, actually, in the Copa Saxo 8-valve championship. The guys all pose for pictures. And there are your top three. Rivation T-Sport obviously getting a strong result for the Teams Championship out of that one with Antonio and Norby up there. They have teamed up for the Teams Championship this time round. Sasha Lenz in second for Lowenpower. He is teamed up this time round, I believe, with Shane Brereton. Yes, he is. And Shane will be on the podium in just a second for the Promoters' Cup. They get their own branded caps on now and pose for yet more pictures in front of their adoring fans. And now they'll get the champagne out, and I'm sure one of them is going to get soaked at least at this point. Either that or the crowd below will, because they have races tomorrow to dry these suits out for. Who's getting drenched? Oh, there you go. You could see the communication there between Sasha Lenz and Norbert Kish. They were ready to absolutely soak Antonio. But they make sure that everybody down below enjoys a nice, refreshing shower of champagne in the heat of Misano. Norby there tries to absolutely drench Sasha. Tries to pour it down his back or something. But the guys will all enjoy that tonight, I'm sure. Or what's left of it, anyway. But we have another podium coming up in just a second. Once they've mopped up the champagne. And we will get the top three from the Promoters' Cup. This is for the Chrome category drivers. Basically Class B in this championship. Still just as competitive as what we will call the Titan class. So, after a penalty for Teo Calve, that means that Shane Brereton will take the category victory. Teo demoted to third. He's still happy to be on the podium, I imagine, but he will be a bit disappointed in the incident and, of course, the penalty that came with it. Second place goes the way of Stefan Fass. Good start to his campaign, to be honest with you. He had a bit of a tough race, but a podium in the category in the second race of the season will certainly help his confidence as we carry on. And on the top step of the podium in the Promoters' Cup in race 2 of the championship is last season's Promoters' Cup champion, Shane Brereton, starting off in very, very strong form. The silverware is handed out. Teo Calve, the young Frenchman, arms aloft. Stefan Fass gets his trophy over on the left-hand side as well. The German with Tankpool 24 Racing was a real character in the paddock last season, always has been, and to be honest, always will be. And then, of course, another trophy for the large trophy cabinet of Shane Brereton, double Promoters' Cup champion in 2018 and 2021. And he's hoping to add a trio, or at least a third one, for this year. And there we go, the British national anthem for Shane Brereton. And of course, his Apollo Tyres Tour truck racing team. And once again, the guys pose for pictures up on the podium. I love the fact that the announcer directs them so clearly as well. And here we go. Who's going to get drenched? Who's going to get the cork out of the bottle first? Well, Stefan Fass is on it. Great effort as well by Stefan. Absolutely soaks our cameraman. Like I said, he's a real character. He owes us a GoPro. Cheers all round from the top three finishers, and that is your podium complete for the overall top three finishers and, of course, the podium in the Promoters' Cup. Shane there saying that he kept missing some of the apexes at the chicane, actually. We have team members making their way up for the team's podium as well. But that's pretty much going to wrap up our action here today. And here are your championship standings after the first two races. We have Norbert Kish leading the way on 32 points from Antonio Albacete, who with that race win moves up into second in the standings. Sascha Lenz is third on 27 points, and Jochen Hahn finds himself in fourth, 25 points to him. Then there's quite the gap back to René Reiner, Steffi Halm, Adam Lachko, Theo Calve, André Kurzim and Shane Brereton, who rounds out the top 10. Teams Championship is looking good, though, for Revesh and T-Sport, which, like I said, is Norbert Kish and Antonio Albacete. The two of them will be very happy indeed. Here's a look back, though, at how all that unfolded. A quick interview with René Reiner at the start of the race, where he told us he was very, very focused. All of the action was behind him, though. Theo Calve outbraking himself, making contact with Steffi Halm. Steffi was then involved in the sandwich between Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn. Sascha Lenz started his move through the field with Norbert Kish pressurising him. Adam Lachko after contact with René Reiner, but unfortunately dropped back down. It was very, very close, though, from multiple angles with all of these guys. Fantastic fighting all the way through the field. René Reiner put up a strong defence throughout the majority of the race, but ultimately would fall down behind the guys chasing him. Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn putting on enough pressure to eventually unsettle the German near the end of the race. Antonio Albacete gets his first win in 3 years ahead of Sascha Lenz and Norbert Kish. More drivers once again that we will see sharing the podium as the season continues. That's the end of the action here for the first day at Misano, and we're back now with Christina and Stefan Faas.
Yes, he was on the podium, and thanks to you, our cameraman Luis got champagne in his nose and everywhere. That's great to see. So congratulations on the podium. The race was kind of difficult. So Shane Brereton is under investigation right now. We will not know the result. What are you thinking? The penalty? Yes, no, maybe?
I hope. No, it was a good race for me, yes. We have many fights in the first rounds, and yeah, I'm not very happy, but it's the result was good, and I hope we can change the
You want a one on it?
Yes. Yeah.
So not happy until that? Okay, but reverse grid time is always so difficult for your drivers because you need to really be as quick as hell. How was it this time?
Nochmal auf Deutsch bitte.
Also ihr musstet halt super schnell ja auch reagieren halt die ganze Zeit. Ne? Wie war das jetzt gerade bei diesem Rennen?
Also bei diesem Rennen war es genauso, da gerade am Start quasi, da war es brutal, ja. Also da wurde so gerempelt und es war so eng. Man wusste gar nicht, auf welche Seite man sich überhaupt positionieren sollte, um dann auch heile aus der Kurve rauszukommen. Ich denke, ich habe es ganz gut hinbekommen. Ja. Wir haben relativ wenig Schäden am Auto. Wir haben ein bisschen gelassen, weil wir haben uns auf die neue Lambda, auf den Lambda-Wert im Endeffekt eingestellt, dass die Autos nicht mehr rauchen. Und da haben wir sehr viel Leistung gelassen. Das habe ich leider gemerkt jetzt in den Rennen. Da müssen wir jetzt noch mal ein bisschen nacharbeiten, aber ich bin sehr zuversichtlich. Ich hoffe, dass das nächste Rennen besser wird.
Ja, danke dir. Bis später. So, I will translate to that because I want to do the reverse grid. The last thing he told us that we're working on the lumbar regulations, which means that we should go a bit back because they're going to reposition the trucks. So the regulations about the smoke coming out of the trucks. I'm sorry, I'm stepped on your foot there. And so he had to make an adjustment on the truck, why he lost some powers, which maybe explained why he had some difficulties during race one. So, and then he was saying, oh, I'm not happy because I want to get his place. I will ask him soon about this. But then he was telling us about the first lap. And as you have seen it too, it was so close. And he was not sure whether to look left or right. There was all trucks coming around, bumping around. And it was really quite heavy. Shane Brereton, thanks that you're here. So you have been under investigations. Any news yet?
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Okay.
No, didn't know that. I don't know what that's about.
I think that was about maybe you touching someone. I don't know if it was really directly with Stefan Faas or something else. Any situation you have in mind?
Not that I know of. Maybe Yannick. Yannick was a bit forceful coming through, so maybe they're just looking at that.
So maybe don't see a result since you don't remember exactly. So this is always a good sign for you. But also, Stefan Faas told it was so close. You were bumping it around. You had to look left and right. And how was it for you then? Was it a tough fight?
Yeah, it was very tough. Where it's so hot, I think everyone suffered with it. Just wouldn't steer where you wanted it, and I think that's why, people were struggling. Really, it was very difficult.
Theo Calvé also got a penalty, which he was ranked third after this race because he touched Steffi Hahn. But this is, as you say, normal, and also you're getting experience during such a tough race.
Yeah, I saw that incident. I think it was in the beginning. The problem is when you've got lots of trucks on the beginning, it is easy to make a mistake. That incident cost me places. I climbed that really well, and then I had to avoid that, and then I lost my boost.
So how was your truck then? How many damages?
I think Yannick touched all 4 corners, but no, it's just all right. It's only a couple panels. It was just where he was just trying to be a bit forceful. Nothing really malice, it's just a little bit of touching.
But overall, you are happy with your performance?
Yeah, very happy. Yeah, we could do with a bit more out of the truck, but on the whole.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening then. So, working on the truck, of course, because as the sun sets, they're always working on the trucks. So they're about to get started here, Chess. We need to get off here, but I know you've got the highlights for us.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Christina. And yeah, well, I mean, we saw the state of Shane's truck there. As he said, Anthony pretty much touched all 4 corners of that machine. You can unfortunately see Clemens Hecker's truck being dragged away on the right-hand side of the shot there. That's out of the paddock and out of the pit lane. That's not quite where you'd expect it to be going. So hopefully we can see Clemens Hecker back with us tomorrow to continue. But as you see, these wonderful, clean-looking machines certainly... They look used and battered after a day's racing, but at the end of the day, as a motorsport fan myself, I love the fact that these machines, they get used and they get properly used up over these weekends. The panels get bent and buckled and scraped, and even the tyre writing gets rubbed off the tyres, the Goodyear tyres, over the course of a run. But it's great to see them getting some elbows out, at least, throughout the racing that we get in this championship. And the machines can deal with it, as Shane said there for just a second. There was nothing malicious about any of the contact we saw. It's just hard racing. Anthony was trying to force his way back through the pack. He was trying to make up time that he lost in the first race, and from that point there was just the odd touching here and there, and we saw the body panels ourselves absolutely thrown around all over the circuit. But this has been the end of the action here for today, at least. But tomorrow we'll be back with you. In terms of local time to Italy, or Berlin time, as I've been told, we'll be back live at 25 past 10 tomorrow morning for qualifying. That'll be 25 past 9 in the UK. Then at 1:45 in the afternoon, we will have the first race show of the day. And then we'll have race 4 of the weekend, which will be about 10 to 3 local time. I, for one, cannot wait. But it's looking good so far for Ravesh and T-Sport. Norbert Kirsch and Antonio Alberthetti getting 1 win apiece, and that'll add up well for them in the team's championship. There is the Goodyear Innovation Camp, and back down there in the paddock is Christina, who we'll go to now. I will see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much, Chas Dreikert, our English commentator, and Joachim Eberts, German commentator. You've done a great job today, and also the drivers did a great job. I just recently heard that the investigation of Shane Brereton, it was about an incident right before the race. Maybe someone worked at the truck, but it's not said yet, just to keep you informed. So we will see the final results tomorrow then, but we do have a happy winner until then. It's Shane Brereton, and yes, we talked to him, and of course, they are all really happy to be back. As you can see, the fans right now are strolling, get some autographs here and there, and of course all the mechanics are working really hard at the trucks right now. This was the first day in Misano. We're here in the Innovation Camp, and you've seen lots of innovations at the trucks right now. Innovation in our broadcasting, for example, those pictures from high above, really spectacular. Thanks to all the team, thanks to you spectators. See you tomorrow, see you on Sunday. So, ciao Misano.